that mountain, save my heart from the valley. Maybe that desert taught me to pray for rain. Maybe that water never parted for a reason, and you're leading me a better way.
The first time I ever played drums, our Sunday school class was doing this song for church. And I didn't want to sing. I had no interest in that. But the red Ludwigs were right behind me. So I'm like, I'm just gonna hop on there and just do that. And the Sunday school teacher was like, no, you can't do that. And then he was pretty cool. So I started playing and I just started going boom, cat, and he's like, oh, cool, let's do that. And then so that's what I did. And so that was the first time I ever played drums. And then the next time I played drums, I did that in front of the church.
Right.
Yeah. When I first started playing drums, I didn't have drums at home, so I was just like, well, there's drums at the church. It sounds like a great idea. I'll just take the church key and go practice drums at the church by myself. Yeah. So like, I don't know, you just in this town, you could just kind of do whatever you wanted. Like, kids were always at the schoolyard playing football or whatever after hours, and so we live right beside the school, and so we just hop over there and do whatever, just play with the kids or. Yeah, I mean, we just had space just to run around and do anything. I'm the youngest of three, and my oldest brother was a pretty wild child, so I think my parents were pretty tired by the time I came around and could kind of do whatever I wanted. So I had hockey practice a number of times a week, and I would just walk to the rink, just grab my bag and walk to the rink. Like, go to school, come home, hop on my bike to the church, and practice drums.
So, your dad's musical.
Yeah.
Do you think that's part of the reason why it came so naturally?
Yeah, I'm sure that's a big part of it. Growing up, he has a very specific style of music that he does, which is Southern gospel.
It's like the Gaithers?
Yeah, Gaither vocal band. Yeah, that stuff was always on around here. And then I think another thing was, like, because I'm the youngest, my older brother had already like developed musical taste, so I liked whatever music he liked. So like, Big Shiny Tunes was coming out, and I was like, some of the rock music that was on there, like Foo Fighters, I'm like, that the song My Hero came on, I'm like, oh, I gotta learn how to play that. And I didn't know how to play, I didn't know how to write, so I just like, I wanted to figure it out, so I'd listen to it and I would make like different shapes on a piece of paper for like what I thought each drum was, and then I would try to like come up with how to play it. The first tour would have been the Fallen Assault. It was me and two other guys, Derek and Daryl. And Derek, I owe him a lot because he was a really, really good guitar player, and he's a couple years older than me. And so when I was like a 9-10-year-old kid and I was learning how to play drums, then him and I would just jam together. So we just kind of learned how to do that together. And so him and I were in bands till we were like, probably till I was like 23.
You almost didn't start a band together, you were just already in a band together.
Exactly. I sometimes think about that. I'll be 33 this year, and I've never not been in a band. I can't remember not being in a band. I've just always been in a band. It was those two guys, and that tour looked like Canada in November, sleeping in a van, which was very cold, and we would drive around till we found an outlet outside that worked and run an extension cord and run a space heater.
Sounds safe.
Yeah, really safe. It's really great for the person sitting on the bench up front, because he gets really warm at night and then he starts peeling off layers, and he one time threw his sleeping bag on said space heater, which then proceeded to fill the van with very, very much smoke. And man, we remember like being so out of it and like not being able to see your hand because there's so much smoke, and those little van windows that open like this, opening that up and trying to stick your lips out of it so you could get some fresh air, but like not knowing what's going on, and then actually waking up and being like, we gotta get out of this thing right now. So yeah, that was all hardcore. There's a local band called Means, which was a legend and like one of my favorites. Yeah, Evergreen Terrace was a big favorite. Anything hardcore, Misery Signals. But at the same time, I was probably playing Southern Gospel at the same time too. So that was a big influence. And then I was also studying drums all the time. So I was like really into Dave Weckl, Dennis Chambers, Billy Cobham, all these like legendary jazz drummers was kind of my thing too. So all of those different kinds of things.
University track.
Yes. I went to Brandon University for a year studying music, and I'm like, I think like 90% of drummers drop out after year one, which I am one of them.
Yeah.
I was already doing lots of stuff, doing lots of working, and I was just like, I wanted to buy a van and get on the road, and so that's what we did.
Life was different when I was younger. My head and heart were filled with dreams. I had a bigger sense of wonder, with endless possibilities. I started changing as I got older. The fire inside me grew a little bolder. You heard me praying over and over. God, I wanna see like the eyes of a child that opened for the first time, like the call of the wild that is leading me to new heights. Oh, this is my great awakening, revival deep inside of me. With eyes of a child, I can see it for the first time. You're the all that lasts forever, even in the darkest night. I greet your mercy every morning as a beautiful surprise. Life is changing as I get older. You've been so faithful over and over. Now all of my worries are off of my shoulders. You show me how to see like the eyes of a child that are open for the first time, like the call of the wild that is leading me to new heights. Oh, this is my great awakening, revival deep inside of me. With eyes of a child, I can see it for the first time. Free like I'm made to. I don't have any fears, unashamed, so I keep running, running, running. Like the eyes of a child that are open for the first time, like the call of the wild that is leading me to new heights. Like the eyes of a child that are open for the first time, like the call of the wild that is leading me to new heights. Oh, oh, this is my great awakening, revival deep inside of me. With eyes of a child, I can see it for the first time. I see it for the first time. I see it, I see it, I see it, see it for the first time. Oh, I see it for the first time. Yeah, I can see it for the first time. I can see it, I can see it. I see it for the first time. Behold, the King of power is seated on his throne, a sure and strong foundation, a light through the unknown, leading me from a desert land to an oasis of his hope. And I know I am not alone. My God is house of safety, place of freedom, quiet sanctuary for my soul. He is with me. My God is always constant, never shaken, strong enough to hold me through the storm. He is with me. My God is.
So I started playing for my dad probably when I was like 10 or 11. I think we used to do this thing at his concerts. He had a drummer who was really great, really good influence on me as far as drumming goes. If you ever see me play, I have this kind of mean face, and I look pretty, like, things are getting pretty real, like the look on my face, and I get that from him. He was fierce, so him and we used to bring 2 drum sets. He was left-handed, I'm right-handed, so he had to like, and then we had one song at concerts where we did like this double drum thing, and we'd go through all that so that we could do the 2 drums. And then so my dad, he went to Atlanta to record a record. I think I was in grade 9, and so I went with him. So there was a Nashville studio drummer there that I just thought was the coolest thing ever, and I would literally sit in the drum booth with him, right beside him, watch what he was doing on the computer. He's making a little click track, all that type of stuff, and showing me what he's doing, and just let me sit there, just observe. And I had been playing for a while already, so all this stuff was like, I was just like fascinated. And then I played on 3 of the songs on that album as well, because of my upbringing, because my dad doing that stuff. Like that's a getting a taste of that, or getting to experience that is just not something a lot of kids would get to do. Towards the end of my high school days, that kind of thing, he was doing music full time, and he also had a battle with depression for pretty much as long as I can remember. So that was always there, like, so high moments, low moments, that kind of thing. And then he had a really low, lots of years. So I think, I'm not sure how many years, but 8 to 10 of kind of not doing anything musically. And then he started getting healthier and doing more stuff, and that fire to do music kind of came back. And I think it was like an important thing for him to kind of get back to that. So we actually, this would have been, maybe I was 26, somewhere in there, 26, 27. And we went back to that same studio in Atlanta, and him and I made a second record together, and then he's been kind of singing those songs and visiting different churches and kind of telling his depression story and his journey, kind of ever since.
So many times I've questioned certain circumstances and things I could not understand. And many times in trials, weakness blurs my vision. That's when my frustration gets so out of hand. Then I am reminded I've never been forsaken. I've never had to stand one test alone. When I look at all the victories and the Spirit rises up in me, and it's through the fire my weakness is made strong. Oh, He never promised that the cross would not get heavy and the hill would not be hard to climb. He never offered our victories without fighting, but He said help would always come in time. promised that the cross would not get heavy and the hill would not be hard to climb. He never offered our victories without fighting, but he said help would always come in time. Just remember when you're standing in the valley of decision and the adversary says give in, just hold on. Our Lord will show up and he will take you through the fire again. So just hold on. Our Lord will show up and he will take you through the fire again.
How did it come about that the color came in the picture for me?
Yeah.
Well, I was playing for some very dear friends of mine, and I had been playing with lots of different artists for a number of years. Christy and I had recently moved to Winnipeg for a job for her, and we started attending a church and met some really good people, met some really good friends, and some of those friends, Sean and Carly, attended that church, and they had a band called Bold as Lions, and I started playing for them and played for them for 2 or 3 years, somewhere in and around that. And through that, we were playing a festival together. I was playing with Bold as Lions, and at that festival, the color was there, and so that's the first time I had met 2 of them. And Larry, him and I go way back to the hardcore days.
You've known Larry for like ever.
I've known Larry forever. So when I was touring as in a hardcore band as a 19-year-old, 20-year-old, whatever, Larry was always there, and he played in many bands. So he was in all these different bands, and him and I actually toured together on one tour, and we played tons of shows together. And my band wanted Larry in our band. Like, we really, there was another band that I was playing in, which was a worship band, and just before he joined the color, I had called him and asked him, I'm like, I got this worship band thing coming, do you want to play in my band? And he thought about it, and he joined the color instead, and which is great, because now we play together. So shortly after that festival, they just needed somebody to fill in for a season, for a couple of months, and I was game. I was like, yeah, this sounds great. And so one of the first few things I did with the color, we did a Billy Graham event in the Yukon, in Whitehorse. And on the plane there, we hadn't really talked about, like, if this looks like anything. All I had was concerned was that I was just filling in. I said I'd do these 3 months for you guys, do all the shows for you in these 3 months. And then, so during these 3 months, we're on a plane going to the Yukon, and I come off the plane, and somebody stops me, and he had recognized a few of the other guys in the band, and he gathers us together, and he said, I just have to tell you guys, I have this kind of vision while I was on the plane. And he said, I don't know you. He was talking to me, and he said, but you guys are gonna at this event. He said, there's something important I feel like you guys got to do. And he's like, there's going to be this girl with a broken arm, and I need you guys to minister to her. And he looks at me and he says, and I think it's you who has to talk to her. And like, I grew up in church, all that kind of thing, but I had never really experienced that before. And so I was kind of like excited. Like, we're looking for, it's a big event. So there's, I don't know, 1,000 people at this thing each night, and it was like 4 days. And so earlier on, we're kind of looking for her, but I'm doing my job. Like, I had done lots of session work before, so I'm like, I got these songs, like, you know how it is. I got the songs like 2 days before we leave. So I'm cramming, I'm checking my charts all the time. So I'm like, I actually get into job mode, and I kind of forget about the girl. And day 1 goes by, day 2 goes by, day 3 goes by. And then the last day we're watching High Valley country band was playing, and we're kind of being fans in the front, in the front, like cheering for them. We know some of the guys in the band, so we're kind of cheering for them. And all of a sudden I feel a little tug on the back of my shirt. And I think it was Larry, and he's like, dude, you gotta come with me. And then I go to where the other guys are, and they're like, she's here. And here's this girl who had a broken arm, and we're like freaking out, because literally I think they were playing like their last song or towards the end of their set, and it's the last thing. We're gonna go hop on a plane and head home. And and so I'm like, let's take her somewhere quiet, like let's take her backstage.
Yeah.
And so we took her, and then she kind of told us her story of you know, kind of having a hard time at home and feeling broken. I'm not sure how old she was, 16 or 17, somewhere in there. So her mom and her came backstage with us, and we were talking to her, and we prayed with her. And then she told us that she, actually leaving the event the night before, she had slipped and fell and broke her arm. And so when we got to the event, there wasn't a girl with a broken arm, but she had broken her arm while she was there. And that moment was kind of like, it just kind of put everything together. It's kind of like, okay, this is the place I'm supposed to be. And yeah.
Storms are rolling, and your soul is heavy, when you're fighting with your fear. It's hard to keep it steady when you see the waves crashing around you. But don't be afraid, they're not gonna drown you. Just listen to my voice, child. Listen to my voice, yeah. Keep your eyes on me, and I'll lead you out into the deep. If you just believe, I'll show you impossibilities. Even when your faith is sinking, I will always be your savior. Keep your eyes on me, you'll see footprints on the water, footprints on the water. I'll be with you on the water, on the water, yeah. I will go before you, yeah, yeah. I am here beside you. So you see the waves crashing around you, but don't be afraid, I'm not gonna drown you. You can take my hand, child. You can take my hand, yeah, yeah. Keep your eyes on me, and I'll lead you out into the deep. If you just believe, I'll show you impossibilities. Even when your faith is sinking, I will always be your savior. Keep your eyes on me, and you'll see, yeah. Footprints on the water, footprints on the water. I'll be with you on the water, on the water, yeah, yeah. When you call my name, I will be your rescue. I will be your rescue, yeah. No storm will overtake you. I will be your rescue. I will be your rescue, yeah. Keep your eyes on me, and I'll lead you out into the deep. If you just believe, I'll show you impossibilities. Even when your faith is sinking, I will always be your savior. Keep your I'll be with you on the water, on the water, yeah.
So Christy was always there. So Christy's been there. Her and I both very vividly remember her playing baseball on the schoolyard and me hiding in the bushes because I live right beside the schoolyard watching her play baseball. So she's been there the whole time. So it's always been me and Christy. So she's been there from. She would sometimes be at that church with me when I'd go and practice, or at the garage where I would practice long hours. She'd sometimes be there, like just there with me and hanging out, and any touring and stuff. Man, any of those stories, like she maybe wasn't there, but like she's been there the whole time. Yeah, it's always been me and Christy. Yeah.
Like that's just been.
Yeah. Family life now.
Yeah.
I have a 6-year-old boy named Maddie, and a 3-year-old girl, Taryn. And family life is just mini sticks, basketball, Space Jam, Nintendo Switch. My daughter loves painting, crafts, bike rides. That's what home life looks like. I teach a lot of lessons, and so when we're not on the road, that's what I'm doing from home, is teaching drum lessons. And sometimes my son just wants to be in the room, and so he just hangs out with me in my studio at home while I'm teaching lessons. He'll play Switch or just kind of be there watching and hanging out, and it's the 4 of us, and we have a nice little spot where the kids can run around and do their thing and hockey practice.
Does Maddie want to play drums?
He already does. Yeah, he already does, and you often hear him and Taryn both saying boom cat, they just walk around the house saying that kind of thing. So yeah, he plays already pretty well. Yes, he loves sports. Oh, I am in all of my glory. Because of COVID, I got to help coach hockey this year, and this was his first year. Gotta love Canada, man. 5 years old, 3 times a week. Let's go. Yeah, I had just the best time coaching his hockey team, and yeah, that's sports all the time. It's interesting. I've always been so focused on growing as a player, like really diving into. I'm the nerdiest drummer imaginable. I have like 150 drum books at home that I can recite page numbers of things, like, and during COVID I just didn't want to. Like, it's interesting because now I have all the time in the world to really dig into that stuff, but probably for the first time in my life I just didn't want to. And that was almost like a shock to my system, like why don't I want to? And I even messaged a drummer that I really respect, who's worked around, and I just asked him. He's a Nashville guy, and I just asked him, I'm like, in your career of a 30-year jobbing drummer, like, have you ever experienced this? And he's like, oh yeah, every other week. And he's like, you just have to take it, like, do something else. Just like, that's your job, still do your job, but just let something else kind of take over. And I think a big part of that was my kids, and just kind of embracing that. And I think there's probably a much healthier balance. I'm really proud of the new record. Being a drummer in pop music, or CCM, any of those titles, not a lot of drummers get to play on records. That's a pretty rare thing. A lot of drums on records is programmed, and I'm very fortunate that as a drummer, our band wants the music to have my touch on it. 10 songs on the new record have 10 songs with live drums on it, and that's pretty unheard of in this day and age. So I'm really, really proud of that record, and feel really honored and lucky to get to be on that. So I'm just excited. I miss touring. I miss that, like, that camaraderie of sometimes Larry and Ryan, our sound guy, and I, during loadout, we just be screaming at each other, but in a good way, like just about like what's coming next and like getting that trailer loaded and just that feeling of being out on the road is just it's a special feeling. So I'm looking forward to that, bringing the music that we're really excited about to people. And yeah, it's been a long time since I've been on a stage, so kind of looking forward to that. A number of weeks ago, I pulled out a chart from one of my favorite drummers, and I'm like, I'm gonna learn how to play this. And that just all of a sudden kind of came back, and I'm just like, that hadn't been there for a while. It just, for whatever reason, and so it's just kind of that spark is kind of getting back and feeling like, well, in a way feeling like what I had to offer the world was gone, and kind of going through that and realizing that's not what I have to offer the world. That's just something that I can do. That's just something. That's just that's not my identity. So just kind of being like, I love to play, and I'm going to continue to play, but that's not the main thing in my life anymore, I guess. My name is Tyson, and I'm the drummer of The Color.
From victors to victors, from beggars to princes. Think I heard you say you don't have to stay where you are. From heartbreak to healing, from slavery to freedom. When I think of you, I see flickers in the dark. You made it so my history just not to find my destiny. You long to take the fear I hold and drown it out in perfect love. My past is past, my chains are gone. Sin and shame is overcome. You alone are my victory. You alone are my victory. How can I remain the same? The cross is where my life was changed. You alone are my victory. You alone are my victory. My victory. My victory. You alone are my victory. Let my heart be your heart. Let my will be yours, God. Let my life become a fire that can't be tamed. 'Cause you know I'm my history, but you say it's not my destiny. So take away the fear I hold and drown it out in perfect love. My past is past, my chains are gone. Sin and shame is overcome. You alone are my victory. You alone are my victory. How can I remain the same? The cross is where my life was changed. You alone are my victory. You alone are my victory. I don't wanna make what you've done for me bigger than what anyone has done to me. You have power over everything, yeah. Now I'm no victim, yeah. Now I'm no victim. 'Cause I am free, these chains are falling. No longer bound to a death without a cause. No, that's not how this goes. That's not how this ends. And I refuse to be a victim to these old patterns. It's not my circumstance or situation, not my shame or my fears, not the choices that I made or the past that's ringing in my ears that define His love for me, His grace, the longing of His heart, that I might find my strength in Him alone. Just as the devil run and hide, no, I won't listen to the lies, the voices swirling round and round, that I'm not strong, I'm not worthy, not deserving.